Lesson 4-3, compare and order decimals. So in this lesson, we're just going to look at different decimals. We're going to compare them, see which one's greater than, equal to, or less than. And then we will order them either from least to greatest or from greatest to least. So our first example. Here we want to compare the decimals by writing all the decimals to the same place value. You can do that by, when you do that, you might have to put some zeros as placeholders. So here I have 94.365 with the 5 repeating, comparing that with 94.3653. Now this side, the right-hand side, has 4 digits as their decimal place. The left-hand side only has 3, but the 5 is repeating. So this is really 3655, and this is 3653. That means 94.365 repeating is greater than 94.365. Next one, I have negative 8.20309, and we're comparing negative 8.204. Now, if I look at the first 3 digits that start the decimal places, I have 203 and 204. Normally, 204 is bigger than 203, but because our numbers are negative, we want to find the number that's closer to 0. That's going to be the greater number, and negative 8.20309 is closer to 0, so that's further to the right on a number line, so this would be greater than negative 8.204. Next, I have negative 6.2, and then negative 6 3/8. Well, if you take your calculator and you did 3 divided by 8, that's going to give you 0.375. So really you have negative 6.2 and negative 6.3. And again, because they're negative, we want to choose the one that's closer to 0 or further to the right on the number line. And the one that's closer to 0 is going to be negative 6.2. So negative 6.2 is greater than negative 6 3/8. Next, compare these. We got negative 0.04 and negative 0.005. Now the one that's closer to 0 is actually the one on the right, negative 0.005. Because again, we can just compare the two of the decimals here. We have 0.4 and 0.0. But because they're dealing with negatives, you always want to look at the one closer to 0, which is further to the right on the number line. Next, negative 0.007 and positive 0.0022. Well, positives are always greater than negatives, so 0.0022 would be greater. Next, I have negative 0.501 and negative 1.105. Well, negative 1 is less than 0 because it's to the left of 0. So that means negative 0.501 would be the greater number. And then we have negative 0.724 compared to negative 3/4. Just remember, negative 3/4 is negative 0.75. So now we're comparing 72 and 75. 72 is smaller than 75. However, we have a negative. A negative 0.724 is actually greater than negative 0.75 because it's further to the right and it's closer to 0. Next, we want to order these numbers, these decimals, from greatest to least. So the biggest number. So if I look at the first decimal, or the whole number part, they all start with zeros. The 10th place, I got 0, I got 0, I got 2, and I got 0. So 0.2 is the bigger number. Then I look at the 100th place, 4, 2, 9. 9 is the biggest one, so we would have 0.09 Then comes 0.04. That means our smallest number is 0.027. Next, we have negative 4.141, negative 4.114, negative 4.441, and negative 4.4. So they all start with negative 4. Next, the 10th place is 1, 1, 4, 4. Now, because the numbers are negative, the bigger number is actually going to be the smaller digits, because that one's going to be further to the right on a number line. So it's going to be between negative 4.141 and negative 4.114. So if I'm comparing 1, 4 and 1, 1, the negative 4.114 is actually further to the right on a number line. So that one's going to be our biggest number. So I'm going to write that down. So negative 4.114. Next would come the negative 4.141. Then we have two numbers left. We have negative 4.441 and a negative 4.4, and it's really 40. So the one closer to 0 or further to the right would be the negative 4.4. That means our smallest number would be negative 4.441. Next, we got 0.719, negative 0.79, 0.79, and negative 0.709. The biggest number is going to be our positives, and we have 0.719 and 0.79. While 0.79 is the biggest one, that would follow by 0.719. And then with our negatives, I got 79 and 70. So the next biggest one would be negative 0.709. Because that's further to the right, and that means our smallest number is negative 0.79. And our last ones, we're going to go from least to greatest. So 1.662, 1.62, 0.62, and 0.662. So the smallest number would be 0.62. Then it would be 0.662. Next, we're comparing 1.66 and 1.62. 1.62 would be the next biggest. That means our biggest number is 1.662. Next, we got negative 0.5763, negative 0.58, negative 0.5367, and negative 0.0875. So the smallest number, it's going to be a negative number. But if you take the negatives out, you want to look for the biggest number because that one's furthest from 0. That's furthest to the left when you put the negative back in there. So that looks like it would be negative 0.58. Next would be negative 0.5763. Next would be negative 0.5367. And the biggest number would be negative 0.0875. And our last one, negative 0.06, negative 0.062, negative 0.061, and negative positive 0.006. So the biggest, or the smallest number would be one of the negatives, and it would be negative 0.062. Then it would be negative 0.061. Then it would be negative 0.06. And the biggest number would be positive 0.006. So that's our lesson on comparing and ordering decimals.